Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am back in DC and I'm going to hike Rock Creek Park, which is a little slice of wilderness right in the middle of the city. So I'm going to basically do a big circuit around the entire park. I'm going to go north along the Western Ridge Trail and then come right back down south along the Valley Trail. It'll be about 9.5 miles long and should take me about 4.5 hours to do. So let's go over the gear I'm going to use. So the weather is going to be around the high 30s, low 40s, so I gotta come prepared. I've got a heavy jacket, which is composed of a outer shell and an inner liner. Got some lightly insulated pants, heavy gloves, again, outer shell, inner liner, some lighter gloves, a beanie, just regular running shoes with socks, GPS watch, sunglasses, multi-tool, hand sanitizer, toilet paper, lunch, regular old t-shirt, couple of bars, map, cell phone, extra battery, and a pack with about 1.5 liters of water. So let's get going. So we are at the Rock Creek Park Nature Center. There it is. And at the beginning of our hike around the entire park. This is actually a really cool park. It's the 3rd national park designated in the United States. It was set aside in the 1890s, I believe, and it was meant to give Washingtonians a nice reprieve from the city life. But it's really cool. It basically just follows along the Rock Creek, which is named, all the way down from Maryland. But it's a beautiful area. You got deciduous and evergreen forests. You've got some rockier terrain. You've got more flat areas, meadows, quite a few little micro environments all along the way. But yeah, let's get going. This is probably one of the coolest parts of the park. I should probably go back and give you a closer look. This is the remains of Fort DeRussy. It was a Civil War era fort built in 1861, and I know you got to use a little bit of your imagination, but if you can just imagine the walls here, the ditch, the redoubts are obviously a little worn away by time and weathering, but this helped defend DC from the Confederate Army, and it actually fought off an attack, which is crazy to think that the Confederacy got so close to the nation's capital. But yeah, this was a really important, I guess, kind of keystone in DC's defenses. It's really, really cool that you can just like waltz into it. This being November, you can really see the fall foliage really starting to turn from green to orange to yellow to brown. And the reason that happens is, well, first of all, we're walking through a deciduous forest, which means that the leaves fall down in the winter. The reason that happens is because, say, take a look at this maple leaf here. It's very broad, meaning that it's susceptible to lose its moisture in the winter and endanger the tree. It's also very delicate. So once it starts getting colder, the days start getting shorter, what will happen is that the trees will reabsorb the chlorophyll, which is the compound in the leaves that make them green, but also converts sunlight into sugars. So as that chlorophyll is reabsorbed into the tree and pulled away from the leaves and broken down, the leaves begin to change their color because you have less and less green there until they finally turn brown and then fall down. We've now come to Pinehurst Branch, which is one of the many streams that feed into Rock Creek. Luckily, it is just about winter time, so the water level is pretty low, as you can tell, and crossing is pretty easy. All you have to do is follow these little stones and you get across just like that. I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about hiking in cold weather. Currently, the ambient temperature is about 37 degrees, but once you take the wind chill factor into effect, it really comes down to about 33 degrees. Despite that, I've already peeled off some layers, so took off the heavy gloves. I'm now wearing lighter gloves. I'm sure those will come off eventually as well. And took off the inner lining of my jacket. So now all that I have is the shell. You have to keep in mind that as you hike, especially if you go uphill or through more difficult terrain, that your body will heat up naturally. And you're gonna wanna start peeling off those layers because you don't wanna be sweating in cold weather, because that eventually could lead to hypothermia. So just make sure, like I said, to dress in layers that are easily taken off one at a time, so that you can, I guess, modify your clothes to your body temperature. We've just gotten to Boulder Bridge, which marks the northern leg of the Western Ridge Trail and the beginning of the southern leg of the Valley Trail of my hike. And just a couple hundred meters that way is Maryland, but still in DC. There you can see Rock Creek itself. Very, very beautiful. This trail is basically gonna hug it all the way back down south. And interesting story. So I was actually hiking here last winter, and I was right here, right past the Boulder Bridge, and I was looking across the creek when, I kid you not, I saw a tree fall in the woods. And my God, did it make it sound. Because it didn't just fall, it like exploded. It broke from about halfway up and just like made this gigantic boom. It was amazing, and I've never experienced that despite, years spent in the woods. So it was a really cool experience. This is one of my favorite sections of the Valley Trail because it just runs along the bank of Rock Creek, and it's just very peaceful. It's very quiet. We've now come to the Joaquin Miller cabin, which is one of, if not the oldest log cabin in Washington, D.C. It was built in the 1890s by the American writer Joaquin Miller, you guessed it. And he built it in order to find his muse, as he put it, in the woods, find inspiration for his writing. The thing I love about this park is that there are little gems like this strewn all over Rock Creek. Here we are at Rapids Bridge, so named for the rapids of Rock Creek running right under it. I love hiking in the late fall because, it's just beautiful, but all of this leaf litter covering up the trail really makes it difficult to see where you're going, where the rocks are. It's very easy to twist an ankle, especially if you, like me, are minimalist when it comes to hiking and don't wear boots or shoes that offer a lot of support. So I gotta be very careful, especially when going downhill. Just like when it snows, the leaf litter, like I said, tends to obliterate the trail unless you're paying attention and looking for those blazers like you have right there, which you'll find in most parks. So if you come out here, or really if you go out anywhere in the deciduous forest north of like Florida in the fall or later, you have to be careful to make sure that you're following those blazers, otherwise it's easy to get lost. This is another section of the trail that I really like. We just passed Boulder Bridge, which you can see right over there. And once again, we're following Rock Creek very closely. The trail's a little bit more broken than it's been in other places, but it's definitely worth it because it's so peaceful here. We've now come to Pulpit Rock, and it looks like a pulpit, so I imagine that's why they named it as such. But this is as good a place as any to stop for some lunch. It is, let's see, it is 3:11 I've been out here for 3 hours and 21 minutes. So yeah, let's fuel up before finishing this hike. Hey there! I'm here enjoying my turkey and Swiss sandwich, and I put the liner back on, as you can tell, outside of my shell. Very iconoclastic, because I'm sitting down, I'm not expending that much energy, so I know that my body temperature is going to cool down. I need to make sure I don't freeze out here, because it's like 35 by now, and as you can tell, the wind's really kicked up. So I have some shelter behind this rock, but I'll take the liner back off once I start moving again. But for now, I want to make sure I'm nice and warm. So I'm back on the move again, eating a granola bar. I'm really thinking that they should rebrand these things as semi-solid crumb snacks, because they just fall apart. And honestly, I'm probably feeding the local ants more than myself. By the way, welcome to another episode of Andrew's useless and pointless musings in the woods. We've now made it to Bluff Bridge, crossing over now, and the end of the Valley Trail, and we're now going to hook up with the Western Ridge Trail again and head back toward the Nature Center. So the trail here splits in two. You've got a more moderate section this way, a more strenuous this way, and I think you know which one I'm going to take. Just kidding. There's some deer on the other side of the creek. A buck and a doe, it looks. The sun's going down. It's getting a little chillier. That's why the heavy gloves are back on. But we're on the home stretch. Got about a mile and a half left to go. And I should make it back before the sun's completely set and there's still some light out. Okay, we are back at the Nature Center just as the sun is starting to set. The entire hike went for 11 miles and it took me 5 hours and 6 minutes to complete it. So a little longer than I expected, but it wasn't very difficult. It's a pretty easy trail. Nothing too technical with the exception of one small section on the southern end of the Western Ridge Trail. But hope you enjoyed it. If so, please share and subscribe, and I'll see you around next time.